Alright guys, welcome back. CFP here, and this is Survival Living. As you can see, we got more rain. Alright, so today's video is brought to you by a lot of questions that's been going on about how long canned food lasts. What's the expiration date, best by date, things like that. Now, as we discussed in a couple other videos, our food shortage that we are facing here in America. So people are wondering how long their canned goods are going to last if they go out and buy a bunch of canned goods. So, good question. I wish that there was a perfect answer for you. According to the USDA, canned goods stored correctly, most canned goods stored correctly, can almost last indefinitely. Now, with that being said, and I'm quoting from them, okay, so I'm not making anything up here. With that being said, it really depends on what it is and what you're storing, your temperature, stuff like that. Alright, so an ideal temperature for canned goods to last long is below 85 degrees. It's actually recommended between 50 and 70 degrees. So if you got a special place that you can maintain a temperature between 50 and 70 degrees, you're going to get a lot longer life out of your shelf-stable food. That's your canned goods and your dry goods. Now, you can't just take a bag of rice, throw in there and go, okay, that's good for indefinitely. No, because a bag of rice in its current state, as in the bag you buy from the store, well, one, it can contain eggs, weevils. Alright, so you have to take steps to actually make it last longer. So with rice, what we do, we break down our rice, we freeze it. Now, it just depends on who you are and who you talk to. Freeze it between 24 to 72 hours in the freezer, pull it out, let it air dry, then you vacuum seal it with an oxygen absorber, and you can get up to 30 years. 30 years out of rice if stored correctly. Now that is also, you got it in a temperature regulated room, you've got it vacuum sealed, you got an O2 absorber in there to pull out all the oxygen, and they claim you can get up to 30 years. I have never gotten 30 years because I have not been prepping for 30 years, so I can't tell you for sure that it does 30 years. So let's talk about the canned goods, because that's what most people are interested in, is a quick, easy buy to put up. Now, right fast, I want to discuss what we do here at the house, because this is what we base most of our experience off, is what we do. This is what we show on this channel. We have a 2-year supply of canned goods and dry goods. Alright, this is all of our canned meats, spaghetti sauce, soups, our rice, our pasta, our flour, all these things, shelf-stable food. We have a 2-year supply. The reason why we have a 2-year supply, this is our normal foods that we normally eat. It's in a rotational stock. So tonight we're going to have rice and chili. So we're going to pull from our stock rice, some wolf chili or whatever brand that we decide to pull tonight. We'll make our dinner, and when we go back to the store, we're buying extra and to replace that, and we put it all in the back and push all the old stuff forward. That way it's constantly rotating. Now, like I said, USDA says that you can actually store indefinitely on most canned goods. Well, this is true and not true. Alright, so your canned goods, your usual expiration dates are never on the can. Usually it's a best buy date. Now, the best buy date is only a manufactured recommendation for the people selling the food, because it's going to be the best quality tasting, and it's easier for them to remove it and replace with more food and just keep the beast fed, basically, financial wise. Alright, so the best buy date, ignore that. You want to be looking for expiration dates. Now, if a can of food is properly stored, according to, I believe it's the Food Network channel, take that with a grain of salt, they say, and there should be a pop-up here for you, you can get up to 4 years past an expiration date if properly stored. I don't know, okay? This is what I run into with past expiration dates. The texture of the food degrades, the taste degrades, and the nutritional value of the food inside that can does degrade. So it's not as nutritional as it was before. And your ravioli now looks like ravioli soup. So there you go. Are there instances where people have eaten stuff way past date and been fine? Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying there's not. I'm just saying this is the information given. It's up to you if you want to do something else. That's entirely up to you. I have no control of what you do. This is just the common sense information. I cannot tell you that a can of chicken is going to last 15 years because I don't know how you're storing it. I don't know if you dented your can. I don't know if you've gotten rust on your can. I have no idea what has happened to your can in your possession or the manufacturer before you purchased it. Take that in consideration. You'll see a lot of people up here, well, I've eaten a can of such and such 30 years past expiration, I was fine. Good for you. I'm not recommending doing that. What we do is a 2-year stock of food. This is the normal rotational stock. If I want to plan, and this is what we do here, we plan on extending our stock further. We buy long-term food storage that has a 25-year to 30-year shelf life after we've already got our 2 years. This is 2 years of food that no matter what happens out here, we got 2 years of food for our family. After that, we have a supply of long-term food storage. But between all this eating going on, we've got seeds, we have fertilizer, we have Miracle-Gro, we have stuff to grow a garden. All right, we have ways of producing food while we're eating off our stocks. If something happens, we have a way of creating our food. Now, just because you have seeds does not mean you're going to be able to grow a garden. Fact is, I've been growing gardens most of my life. It's not as easy as you think. There's a lot of different things to take in consideration. One, our weather's always changing. There's always something going on with that. The ground could get polluted. There's all kind of things that can happen. Just because you have seeds in the ground does not mean you're going to have a bountiful garden. It doesn't. It's a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of time to grow a garden, especially a large garden for your family. Okay, another thing that we do, we get pastas, macaroni, all kind of different noodles, spaghetti noodles, stuff like that. Now, from the store, you get anywhere from 2 to 3 years, is usually what the shelf life says on the package. All right, so that's pretty close. What we try to do, we try to vacuum seal everything. Every time you vacuum seal something, you remove that air out and drop it in an oxygen absorber, you're usually extending the life expectancy of that food anywhere from 2 to 4 times. Think about that. You're extending that life. You're also protecting it from bugs and stuff. Most packaged noodles comes in a cardboard box. Well, down here in Florida, we got palmetto bugs. They're like roaches. They love cardboard. So you're separating your food, and you're also protecting it from moisture. You're protecting it from pests, and you're extending the life. So a vacuum sealer is a good idea. You can get cheap ones online. O2 absorbers are not very expensive. You got to make sure you keep them sealed or they'll start cooking off on you. I've had that happen. I bought, I think it was 1,000 oxygen absorbers, and I opened up the bag and they all came in one big bag. I opened it up while I was working on one. I just started hearing something sizzling. I looked down and the whole bag is cooking off because they're reacting to the oxygen. Whoops. So basically, guys, canned goods, dry goods, your beans, your rice, these things do last a very long time past expiration date, but you've got to store them correctly. Temperature is the main thing. Temperature will destroy your food stocks. You do not want to put them in an outside building where temperatures are constantly regulating. You don't want them inside a building either that's the temperature's constantly regulating. You don't. You want to keep a constant temperature, preferably, like I said, between 50 and 70 degrees is what they recommend for the fullest length of time for the life expectancy of that canned good. They say below 85 degrees, but then they go into more specific. 50 to 70 is a more optimal range. So if you can actually design a room inside your home that you can keep a temperature like that, whether you have to have alternative power in case power goes out, things like that, whatever you got to do, that is optimal. Now, if you have a root cellar system, even better. Years ago, that's how people kept food lasting a very long time. I do want to cover one really quick step for you. I read it all the time. Well, I can all my stuff. That's good. Absolutely. I recommend learning how to can. Absolutely. Most of your home canned goods will last anywhere from 12 to 18 months. Just so you know. I speak from experience on this. The best buy on canned goods is 12 to 18 months. I'm 42 years old. I come from a family that has lived off of nothing. Canning was part of our lives growing up. your canning is only designed by nature to go from growing season to growing season. It's not something that you're going to can up a lot of stuff and go, well, I got 20 years worth of food right there. That stuff will last 20 years. You might have a couple that last 20 years, but the majority of them will not. 12 to 18 months. That is the usual on canned good items, canning from home, just so you know. Same with beef jerky. Okay, beef jerky, purchased from beef jerky with all their preservatives and their vacuum sealing and all that stuff that comes in the packages, you're getting anywhere from 6 months to a year on beef jerky. At home, 3 to 4 months. 3 to 4 months on beef jerky. Now, we can talk about dry meats. Dry meats last a lot longer, but if you're drying out meat, especially for long term, that can go anywhere from a couple weeks to 6 months of cure time. It's not overnight stuff. All right, so it just depends on what the situation is, but this video was about the canned goods alone and our dry goods. So yeah, you can store a lot of stuff. We store a 2-year stock of that. Like I said, it's a rotational stock. Our foods never go bad because we're always eating it. All right, one of the things I see a lot of is, well, don't buy tomato sauce in cans. All right, we can talk about that. We talked about that before in the past. All right, so the acidic levels in tomato sauce, same with some of the fruits, all right, canned fruits, it will eventually eat through your can. Now, like I said, I've got a 2-year supply, 2-year stock of food. I don't have that issue because it's in a rotational stock. I have never had a can fail me ever. No, not once, all right? Not from eating through the can, because it's in a rotational stock. Now, if I was trying to make that can of tomato sauce last 25 years, odds are it'll eat through it. So it's up to you. You can buy just the glass jars, whatever. If you got hands like mine with nerve issues, you drop a lot of stuff. And last thing you want to do is drop a glass jar compared to a metal jar. You know what I'm saying? Also, transportation is easier with canned goods compared to glass jars. But that's entirely up to you. That's your preference. You go, you do you. Alright guys, so I wanted to take the time right now and thank all of our new members here on the channel. We do have our own channel membership here. Guys, your names will be rolling up here. Definitely do appreciate that support. We've had a lot of people that have just recently came over to help with the channel membership that show support to our channel. It's never required, guys. We try to do members only videos from time to time. We haven't done a lot of those. It's just that everything's just been hectic the last 2 months around here at the house, but we still try to. With our members only content, we also do the giveaways. That goes to our members only. As a matter of fact, Through Night just contacted me to send me some new stuff that I've got to go ahead and do a video on. We got some new flashlights and stuff that's going to be going out to our members. That's just the way we're running things here. So for those members, be aware of that. That's going to be coming out here in a couple of days whenever I get everything in. Got to do some tests and stuff like that. So to those new members, I do appreciate it. All right, to everybody else, I always appreciate you guys coming in here, commenting, watching our videos all the way through. We do have a algorithm issue here on the channel. Doesn't matter what video we produce and release, we only get a half view duration. Doesn't matter. You can look at all the view count that we have on our videos, and it's split down the middle every single time on every video. I don't know what it is. So for those that actually watch all the way through, we do appreciate it, because the platform gets a little weird. It's just kind of weird that every single video, we got almost 750 videos, and every single one of them have a half view duration. Half retention. Yeah, it's crazy. All right guys, y'all take care. Speak to y'all later.